Welcome to the Mindful Nomad podcast. I'm your host, Miguel Gutierrez. This podcast is an exploration into the world of creatives, community leaders, and entrepreneurs, taking a deep dive into their lives, focusing strongly on lifestyle, spirituality, mental health, and education. So grab a seat, relax, and join me for this exciting journey through conversations with other mindful nomads. This was previously recorded for the podcast Travel Cuts and Consciousness, but I've decided to keep it on a playlist as it still aligns well with the Mindful Nomads podcast. Enjoy. So hello and welcome to a new episode of Travel Cuts and Consciousness. I'm your host Miguel, aka the Nomad Barber, and I'm currently sitting here in sunny Los Angeles with a very talented lady going by the name of Natalia Bruschi.
Bruschi.
Yes. Natalia is a California native with a successful career within the world of men's grooming, having trained firstly in makeup and then hair, having trained with successful brands such as Vidal Sassoon and Bumble and Bumble. Natalia then made her transition into men's grooming, which has seen her work with the likes of Ben Affleck, Ben Stiller and Bradley Cooper, to name a few, and working on many successful campaigns. So Natalia, how are you? And can you give us a little bit of an intro with anything I've missed out?
Hi, Miguel. I'm good. Thank you. I'm great. It's nice to be sitting here with you talking on your podcast. Thanks for having me on. No, that was a great introduction. You know, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you start? I guess that's the first question. What got you into the world of hair and makeup and men's grooming?
Oh, okay. Well, I started off as a makeup artist and then I transitioned into hair. I was born and raised in San Francisco, where I started my makeup career behind the makeup counter. I worked for MAC Cosmetics for about 5 years, and my dad moved to Italy. I have Italian heritage, and he retired in Italy, and he's like, well, you should come to Italy, move to Italy with me and be a professional makeup artist in Milan. And God, I packed my bags after that and just kind of went with $300 and a dream, and quickly realized how difficult it was. I mean, it was hard. I didn't speak the language. I was in a whole new world across the country. I had only visited there once. And my dad lived in the mountains of Parma, so I'd had to take the train to Milan to find work every day. It was brutal. In the pouring rain, cobblestone streets, and just trying to make my way. And that's pretty much how my freelance work started. And building my book there was a challenge, you know, working for free, and maybe you'd get a print, maybe not. But I did work the shows. I found an agency that needed an assistant for all the shows, and I was just doing makeup. But upon all of that, I realized how very quickly that I needed to start doing hair in order to make any money. And everybody actually in Europe does hair and makeup to start. And that's really the only way that you can work, is if you do both. So I decided after a year and a half and a tiny little portfolio that I'd worked on and created, that like I'd come back to the States and go to the Vidal Sassoon Academy in Santa Monica. And being from California just seemed, you know, like a good fit. And I did research schools in London and found that Vidal Sassoon in Santa Monica was the best school for me. And so I took a break from my freelance career or dream that I had, and just took a step back and just started from scratch and learned how to do hair from the foundation up. And then once I got my cosmetology license, I assisted in a salon, Sally Hirschberger at John Frieda on Melrose Place, for about 6 months and hated it. And I just decided, you know what, like, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to, try to get a job on the floor. somewhere because that's the only way I'm really going to learn. And once I did that, I did 3 haircuts. I remember it was a graduated bob, a men's layered haircut, and a women's layered haircut. And I actually did a great job. I was like, wow, I really get this. And I got the job, and there I was on the floor at this salon called Fred Siegel Beauty in Santa Monica, and knew nothing about color. And I just kind of winged it. It's called fake it till you make it.
I know a lot of people have done that. It works.
And it does. It works. But I just picked up hair very well. Like I just got it. You either get it or you don't. Either you go to hair school and become a hairdresser, or you become a beauty school dropout. It's just that kind of thing. And so it just came naturally to me, just like makeup did. And so I went with it, and then I went back into my freelance career. And once I went back into freelance, I wanted to start working with women, and I did for a little bit, but I was really getting booked with guys, like male actors. And I really didn't know anything about men's grooming at all. And I think it was because I did hair and makeup that I started getting booked with them, because you do need to know how to do both hair and makeup when you work with men. And I just, it all started from there, really.
But what about before that? How did you get into, did you have any creative hobbies as a child, or what led you into, the creative aspects of work?
Yeah, so I was always, the kind of the artsy kid in my family. I always wanted edgy clothes. I always was more creative. I excelled in art school. I excelled in drama. I was like the head photographer of my yearbook. I was always in the arts, and also very athletic. And because I come from an athletic background. But so I guess it just came hand in hand. And when I became a teenager, I started applying makeup to myself and spent hours in the mirror, just loving it, and for some reason, my dream job was to work behind the counter at a makeup counter at a department store. That was my dream job. My mom's like, why don't you go to college? And I'm like, for what? I want to be a makeup artist. And I really my dream was to be a makeup artist. That's it. And my dream was to be a makeup artist for MAC Cosmetics. That was when it was, just launched, and there were 5 people deep at the makeup counter, and I had to do a makeup demo to get the job, and I did one, and I got it, and it just came naturally to me. So, it has always been my dream. I'm actually the kid that would tear sheets, tear magazine pages tear sheets. They're called tear sheets. I would tear the editorial pages out of magazines and tape them onto my wall and created wallpaper out of them, because my dream was to do photo shoots. And then I ended up doing them. So I just have always just followed my dream, really.
And were your family always supportive of your decision to move into hair and makeup?
My mom was, and yes, yeah, I guess they were, yeah. But my mother and my family here in the States, when I moved to Milan, they did not want me to be there. They were just like, when are you going to come home and get a real job? I'm like, but I just worked at the House of Giorgio Armani. I just did a fashion show. What do you mean? That you don't think that that's a real job? I'm doing the shows in Milan. You don't think that that's a real job?
It's probably because they're not there to watch it and see it that they can't really see that you're actually doing a real job.
Yeah.
As far as they're concerned, from afar, you're just in Italy.
Right. Yeah. So when I decided to move back, they were very happy and very supportive. of my career. But I don't think they really got it until I started working with celebrities, and then it was very accepted after that. I got a lot of praise.
The stamp of approval.
Yeah. My mom was my biggest fan.
I think I first came across you a little while back on Instagram, and I thought it was really cool what you were doing. There's
Thanks.
only a handful of people who are probably trusted with celebrity hair, especially in the men's world, that I've seen. How would you say your career has progressed from when you first started doing the men's grooming until now?
Oh, it's progressed a lot. I mean, I can't believe that like 20 years have gone by.
20? Wow.
Can you believe that? I just can't even believe it. It's only this year that I actually counted the years. I'm like, oh my God, I moved to LA 20 years ago. Wow. So I guess I've been doing hair for 20 years, but I've been doing men's grooming for maybe 18 years, 17 years, something like that. Because I had to assist, and then, it took get on the floor, and I guess that took a while, a couple years. But it's progressed a lot. I mean, I knew nothing, and now, like, I feel like I'm pretty good, but I still have so much to learn. Like, I started off as a hairdresser, doing women's hair, cutting and coloring women's hair. And then I started getting all these male clients and had to really, perfect my men's haircuts. And I think that, I don't have a barber license, but, I'm a hairstylist that is, turned into a barber, I mean, I don't consider myself a barber like you're a barber, but I do know a lot about barbering, but there's just so much to learn. I still take classes after 20 years, and I still go to hair shows, and I still go to barber expos, and constantly absorb other people's techniques and learn. I love learning, and other people's work inspires me, and there's so much more to learn.
What would you say has been like the pinnacle of your career so far? Like, what's the highlight for you?
Gosh, that's hard. I guess the highlights are, and working with my clients is definitely a highlight. I love all of them, and the fact that I get to travel around the world and on these press tours is so fun, and it's a privilege, and I'm so grateful. I haven't won any awards, so I don't find myself at the height of anything right now. I think that it's, how do you judge what you do? Like, what, the goal that I set for myself in my life and my career was to be self-supportive and successful, and to work all the time, and to build a portfolio, and to work with all of the clients that I work with. And I did a movie that was great. That was probably like outside of my realm and the most challenging thing, and such a huge learning experience with Ben Stiller. When I did that, I was like, wow.
Which movie?
It was Night at the Museum 3. We were away for like 5 months, and we shot in London and New York, and then most of it was in Vancouver on sound stages. But that was probably, I have to say, that was probably my most favorite part of my career, because that was something new that I had accomplished, and it was very challenging, So yeah, I guess that was, and then when Ben Ben Stiller came out with Zoolander 2. It was so fun. That press tour was like the last of its kind. That was like the best press tour ever. Like every single country that we visited, or every stop that we visited, every city, he dressed up in the Zoolander character, and I got to dress him up and like do his hair and in the Zoolander, character, which was so challenging, but that tour was like the best tour ever. And I felt like that was also, because I predominantly do press and print. So when I think of that press tour, that was probably the height of my career, because I did, do Ben Stiller and then Zoolander, and we all did, and it was like a quick change everywhere, and it was super creative and fun and fabulous. And then, like, as I was saying, I do press and print. So I did a movie, I did that amazing press tour, and then I guess, just working, I think, I mentioned this to you before, like I worked with Brad Pitt, for this editorial with Craig McDean, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like I'm one of his biggest fans. And then when you get to work with somebody that you idolize and admire, and you get to meet that person, he was just, that was my one time working with him. And that was probably, a really special moment.
And sometimes, I guess, when people meet people that they're fans of, they can be sometimes let down.
Right.
But you weren't.
No, he was so kind and, nice to everyone, really. And it was really fun to shoot him with Craig McDean, who's also a genius. He's just so artistic, and the collaboration between the two of them was really special. So I felt like, I was so grateful to be in the room, It was great. And to cut Brad Pitt's hair, what I mean? Like, that's like, okay.
It's pretty special. It's like, if you asked probably, I reckon 50% of men's hairdressers or barbers, if you asked them whose hair they wanted to cut, they'd probably say James Dean, if they say dead or alive. But in a few years, it's going to be Brad Pitt. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to be the up there as the people that everyone wants to cut his hair. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that was something I'll never forget. And I mean, I pinch myself every time I work with, one of my clients. I just can't believe I'm here, just really super grateful.
And is travel a big part of your life outside of traveling with talent, or is it?
Yeah, that's a big part of my life. And one year I traveled so much that I got concierge key for American Airlines, which is like, I don't even know how I got it, but I remember that year I got 3 styes in my eye, like on my eyelid, because I wasn't sleeping. And I was in so many different time zones that, like, at the stress on my eye, they had to flip my eyelid, cut it out, and I was like swollen and bruised for like a week. And that was 3 times in 1 year. And that was the year that I made concierge key. And I'm like, how does anyone do this? Like, that, it was like I was so busy and so booked, and it was a great year. I made a ton of... What
is concierge key for anyone who doesn't know?
Oh.
I don't know what it is.
Oh God. It's like, it's like the highest form, and I'm not trying to just brag, but it's the highest form of status that you can have on American Airlines. I can't believe I'm such an asshole, and I just brought that up. But that's how much I traveled. Was that like it? There's executive platinum, and then there's concierge key for like people who actually fly more than 100,000 miles a year.
Wow. So you board before the pilots?
No. After. But I don't know. It was yeah.
But that was work related, that travel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
all
what I
work-related.
meant was outside of that,
Oh,
traveling with talent. Do you travel? Is it a big part of your life?
if that's what you meant. Okay. Because I have traveled a lot for work. Whenever I'm in town for more than 2 weeks and I don't travel, I start getting an itch and I have to move. Like, I got to go somewhere. Like, this weekend I'm going to San Francisco because I haven't gone anywhere in a couple weeks. So I'm like, oh, I have got this weekend off. I'm just going to go up and see my friends in San Francisco, you know? But they're short trips. When I take my trips, they're short trips. And because I'm basically on call, it's so hard to plan trips in my own life, like a vacation, because 9 times out of 10, I'll have to cancel it and reschedule it because a press tour comes up or something comes up with a celebrity client and you have to drop everything. And
because if you lose that, is the potential that you might not get to work with them again, or?
Well, there's always that somebody else is going to take your job. But more importantly, I need the work
As a freelancer.
Yeah, because I don't know when another job's going to come in. You know, I pray a lot. Like, I'm just like, please, Lord, can you just send me some work?
Send me Brad Pitt, please, Lord.
Because I really don't even, know when it's coming. And so when it comes, you just have to take it because, I have a lot more responsibilities in my life these days.
So in terms of travel, what have been your best experiences so far? Like, where's your favorite places to travel to?
The first place that comes to mind are the Maldives for me. Gosh.
Wow.
I've never seen anything so beautiful as the Maldives.
Was that for work?
No, that was for a vacation.
Oh.
Yeah. That's the place I go to in my mind when I just want to check out and just dream of going back. Yeah, and scuba diving there.
It's paradise.
It really is. It's like otherworldly, So that's the first place that comes to mind.
Do you have any travel tips?
Oh, travel tips. God, yeah. I mean, I've got a lot of, that's my specialty. Like,
life hacks.
I mean, I am like the master packer, like, because I am sure as you are as well. I'm always packing and unpacking and repacking and, sleep is always the key to travel. Like, you have to make sure you sleep or else you're just not going to function. And, you don't get the best out of your vacation or your trip in another place. And do you have anything specific you want to ask me? Because I can generalize a lot right now. Tips.
No. I don't know. Well, like, sometimes it's, people have tips about traveling as like a solo traveler or traveling as a group. I don't really know exactly what I'm trying to ask with that question, but sometimes people generalize with the answer. Mine would be to have a really good neck cushion, but that's boring as hell.
That's important. You got to also make sure to download your movies.
The worst when you get on the plane, you don't have your Netflix downloaded,
or the books, or anything, and
you're taking off, and it's like, oh,
yeah. And you got to always count your miles, no matter which airline. Just always keep your miles. Always make sure you get those miles. And if you can't carry it. Like, if you overpack, you can't carry your bags. Like, you as one person can't carry all of your bags up and down stairs, or, just if you got to run with them, then you got to leave it at home. Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing, So it's important to travel light for sure.
I think once you travel a lot, you realize how little you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't need much anymore. Get more resourceful.
Yeah. Well, I always end up traveling with my scissors, so I can never check bags anyway, which sucks because it would make traveling so much more convenient and, you know, airports, you know, a lot faster. But so since I have to travel with my scissors, I'm always like, well, I might as well just, you know, not have to worry about bringing a carry-on because I have to travel with my scissors. And no matter what, I always have like my kit bag, my suitcase, and then an extra bag. But I would say, what else? You know, just don't be afraid. Just do it. You know, I don't get how people are so they don't like to travel. A lot of people don't like to travel.
A lot of people don't want to travel because they have no one to go with. This is like a big thing where people go, well, I can't go alone. It's like,
really,
I understand why.
Yeah,
like I completely understand why. I probably would have felt like that when I first started traveling, but then eventually you're waiting around for people to come with you, and then you end up not going.
I recently took a trip where I did travel by myself, and it was awesome. It was so great.
You're just on your time.
Yeah, I'm not on anyone's time. You know, it's great. It's really great. You travel a lot by yourself, right?
Yeah, quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I almost prefer it. Like this year, I went snowboarding by myself for the first time, or last year. And I really enjoyed it. You know, you're not on anyone's time. You're not waiting for someone. If you want to be one of the first people on the mountain, you can just go at you're on your own time and stop when you want. And actually, you know what I love about traveling by myself is it forces me to talk with other people.
That's the best thing about it, I think.
Right. And that is when I really meet interesting people and you make friends and you obviously have time to yourself, but it's a real lesson on opening up to other people, which is something that it's not that I just started doing that. I just started traveling, you know, by myself, and it was almost in a lot of ways better. I mean, you got to do that once in a while. I think it's important, you know, just to take space. You got to check out in order to check in. You know.
Are there any like rules that you like to live your life by? No, it doesn't have to be on a professional level, but any morals you hold quite high?
Any morals I hold myself quite high? Yeah, I mean, I make an effort at being very accountable, and I think being very accountable is very important, you know, just like getting back to people and, you know, just always being reliable. I think it's very important in my career just to be accountable, that, you know, it helps with my client retention for sure. And then just to have respect for people. And I think one of the biggest things for me is just to not have an ego. I don't like people with egos.
So you don't like any of LA?
That's not true. Just because you're here for a couple of days.
Well,
I mean, I live in LA and we get along. I mean, we became friends.
Yeah, that's true.
We're not all bad people.
No, I'm only joking. I think there's a few tryhards here though, in like West Hollywood maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to talk badly about anyone, but I think it's always better to be humble and
it
actually
gets you further, I think.
It does, and I don't when I think about like everyone, all of my peers who do what I do, like I don't know. I don't know anyone that has an ego, actually. Everyone's pretty, humble and grateful. And that's what I actually really like about, I don't know, the environment in which I work in.
What have kind of been the biggest hurdles that you've come across in your career?
The biggest what?
Hurdles.
Oh, that's a good one. Hurdles. Well, I guess starting from the beginning, it was just when I moved to Italy, that was a big hurdle. You kind of have to challenge yourself, and it's like a live or die situation, or do or die. Like I gotta do this, or else, I'm not going home without, a failure, right? So when I moved back and had a little tiny portfolio this big of like tear sheets, I was like, at least I did it, overcame that hurdle. And then, just little hurdles after that, getting an agency or getting an agent, and then, having to change an agent because of belonging to an agency that didn't pay you and kept all your money, and then, my biggest hurdle is like losing a client, like a big celebrity client, because they just change their mind and they just want to, find someone else to work with, and start new. And overcoming that. And then about 3 years ago, I became a free agent. I was with an agency and a longtime friend and agent that I parted ways with. And that was probably like, my biggest hurdle as, an established artist. So I decided to just kind of go for it and start repping myself and doing all my own deals. And it was like this whole learning curve. I was like kind of traumatized by, what I had experienced in my old agency. And I met with a couple of agents and I was like, I don't really know. I don't want to jump into this right now. I'm the type of person that like, I don't make decisions, quick decisions. I have to think about things for a long time. But during the time that I was thinking about it, my old agent was kind enough to just direct all of my requests, my personal requests to me directly through email. And I quickly had to learn how to like do my own deal, send a deal memo, do my invoicing, in all the administration work. And, all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I need to, build my own I have to do a website, and then I have to do this. And I have to I have to create a template for this. And I have to I have to collect my money and I have to do all of these things. And then I thought, I've quickly learned how to do all of that. It was like very self-taught. And I found myself to be pretty good at it, negotiating rates and everything. And I had been, like 15 years in at that point. And so I knew what my rates were. I knew, the job, and so just to learn the other side of it and to be my own agent was a huge hurdle that I overcame. And I actually really enjoy it, I really enjoy it. And I think that it's something that I would love to help people and teach people how to do, teach, artists that are freelancers that need to do their own billing and booking and, deals. I mean, if anybody needs help, just give a holler, I really want to help people learn how to be self-sufficient like that. 'Cause it's really pretty easy if you're an organized person,
actually works quite well into my next question is what advice would you give to someone who's thinking about getting into male grooming or session work?
Oh, okay. So advice I would give would be you have to be really persistent. Like, don't give up, you know. You have to, if you're just starting out, you just have to be really open and work really hard. And you have to be the hardest working person in the room, really, when you're coming up. And don't expect to get paid. And you know, you should offer your services for free, just like I did. And just like, you know, so many of us did, coming up, and just train and try to get a mentor, you know, and advice and direction, and someone who's done it for, you know, like a long time and has already been successful, and choose who you want that person to be, and just go after it, really. Like, if you know what you want, just go after it, and just don't give up on your dream, because they do come true. And let's see here. Session work is different. You have to like go to, like, you know, when you're just starting out, you have to find models, you know, you have to find a photographer that's shooting, you know, just spec work. And I went to modeling agencies and I asked them for, you know, a list of photographers that they had that were shooting models just for, you know, for free. And I volunteered my services. I called the photographers, and all of a sudden we were just creating these photo shoots. And that's how you build your book. And then you, once you have a little bit of, well, now it's Instagram. Nobody has a portfolio of their work anymore. You just, you can just really, it's free marketing. Yeah. It's so great. Like, you can just put your work, take pictures of your work and put them on your Instagram page and create your own portfolio. And that's so much easier than what we had to go through. You know, like, I had to like print my shit
and take it to agency. Yeah. Was it but the transition period between doing hair, makeup, and then moving into men's grooming? Was there a point? Because like, I know where I've asked to work on shoots before, and they'll almost say yes, you come and do it, and then they're like, but can you do makeup? Or they say, can you do
really?
Or they say, can you do women's hair? Because we'll have a couple of female models, and I'm like,
wow.
I just do men.
Right.
So was there a transition period where you had to kind of do both on set, and then you just made the big switch to just men? Or do you still do any women? No.
Oh, I do women, friends, wives, and girlfriends. When they have, you know, there's a premiere and they have like a red carpet event. I'll do the wives or girlfriends. And for photo shoots, like I found my niche. Like, my portfolio is all men's grooming, and so the bulk of my work is predominantly men, but like I still do cut and color for women, and I it does come in handy. Like, if the job is you know, a job in which I have to do more than one person, and one of them is a woman and the other person is a guy, or whatever the case may be, I think that is also really a valuable aspect to, you know, what I do, is because I do both hair and makeup. And so that's pretty much why I wanted to keep on doing both, is because I it's an asset. When you do both hair and makeup, you just get more work. You know, you're able to do more. You know, you're not limited to one thing.
So was there like a defined transition period, or was it kind of, you just slowly did less women? Or was it like a cutoff point when you were like, I'm going to focus on men?
Yeah, my agent said to me, like, you know, you're doing women, you're doing men, you're cutting, you're coloring, you're doing hair, you're doing makeup. You need to choose just one thing. And I was like, but I really like doing it all. You know, I don't think that I should just do one thing. And so in the salon, I worked in a salon that did both cut and color. And in my freelance world, with my freelance work, I didn't choose one or the other. And I think that was the deciding factor for my agent to book me with men, because then I could do both hair and makeup on one person. It was hard. It's hard in LA because you have to, there's hair people get booked just for hair, and then makeup. There's separate bookings, but then for men, there's like one person who does both, or in some special cases, there'll be separate hair and makeup for a guy, and I can do either or, So it does come in handy to do both, but there was a deciding factor, like, with my agency, like, you got to decide whether or not you want to do hair or makeup. And then it was really just, it chose me. I didn't choose it. Like, I fought it for a long time. I was like, I don't want to work with men. Please don't, book me solely with men. I really still want to work with women. Like, this is what I do. I work with women. And then I just started working with Ben Stiller, and he had all those back-to-back movies, and I was so busy for like 3 years with him that afterwards it just kind of chose me, and I didn't look back at that point. I was I was well taken care of, and I was making a ton of money and doing what I loved. And I just thought, wow, this is really fun. Let's just go with it. And yeah, it's been, I guess, 17 years now.
Wow.
I've been doing celebrity men's grooming. And they've taught the men I work with teach me. They've taught me. I've learned so much from them. 'Cause everyone is very particular, and, you just kind of, I don't know if you have the same kind of clients where, you learn from them. They teach you because they're very particular. Like, no, you do it like this or that. And
I guess they know what works for them, being in front of the camera so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Constantly in the spotlight, and
right.
what they don't want to be seen like.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Little tricks of the trade.
Yeah, that's it. And in terms of like your personal life, do you try to, like, how important is it for you now to keep a work-life balance?
Oh my God, so important. I used to work so hard and so much. I mean, I was constantly working and never took time off. I wouldn't even go to my friend's baby shower if I had to work in the salon on a Saturday, and it was on a Saturday. I was like, I have to work. It was just work. And then a lot of personal things happened in my life within a very, short period of time. And it just made me realize how important your life is, and like, work is not everything. I had to balance my personal serenity with my work life. And so now I make a point to do that. It's really important just to regroup. And I think it brings out the better part of me too, when you're balanced. And I don't think that, success is it and making a lot of money, equates to happiness, at all. I think that, like, if you're working all the time, there's no, and I enjoy what I do. I think it's really fun, and I'm super lucky. And, I'm very passionate about my work, but I also am really passionate about, like, taking time off and going to yoga. Or I think, health and well-being is probably, if I ever had another career, it would be that, health and well-being, that. But I like to combine the two in my life, because as you get older, you got to start taking care of yourself. And otherwise, you just can't maintain the pace in which you need to perform, right? Like, if I didn't take care of myself physically and mentally and spiritually, then I wouldn't with the stresses that come with the job, right? I mean, I'm sure you know that with all your travels and
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's really important. I mean, if there's one advice that I could give, it's definitely that. Take time for yourself.
So, kind of moving on from there, do you align yourself with any spiritual values?
Do I align myself with any spiritual values? Yeah, I mean, I like to meditate, you know. I think it's really important to be connected, you know, spiritually.
To yourself, or is there something else?
Well, we're going deep here. Yeah, I think that I am constantly searching for growth. You know, I feel like every part of my spare time is like you know, time that I use to check out, you know, and to check in. Like I've said that to you before, where you need to really, you know, take time for yourself and like, you know, journal and just listen to like positive motivational speakers and meditate and think of things that you're grateful for in your life instead of complaining all the time and you know, just I don't like being surrounded by negative people and so just maintaining a positive outlook and trying to, you know, be the best version of myself every day and year after year, right? And I think all of that is definitely spiritual growth, you know.
And in that way, you'd say that spirituality does play a role in the way you live.
Yeah, I think that like
being present
and being conscious, you know, being conscious about what the words I speak, being conscious about the food that I eat, being conscious about the energy that I'm giving out to people, being conscious of other people's feelings, and also just being grateful instead of, I don't know. I think that it's just so important to really be grateful what you have in your life, and I think I've actually grown spiritually because all of the materialistic things that were so important to me before, like, you know, things I thought I needed to buy.
I think when you're younger, you think you need things.
Yeah.
You're told that you need things.
Yeah.
And then slowly, as you start to attain things that you thought you needed, you realize you don't need them.
Don't need them. Like, I've definitely, you know, come on to the other side of all of that, you know, and you have to lose things first in order to realize that you don't really need them anyway, right? So,
well, I think when you lose more important things, it puts other things into perspective.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I used to live in a place that had a humongous walk-in closet, and now my closet is like this big, and I'm like, I only need this much room. I don't even need this much room. I just need this much room, you know? And sometimes I think, God, I really need to go shopping. But I think what's more important to me are experiences. The older I get, the more I just want to spend the extra money that I have on experiences. And that comes with travel and meeting new people and, you know, seeing somewhere I haven't been, but also kind of going to workshops. You know, I love going to workshops and just like, you know, working on myself.
Learning new things. And yeah.
Those are experiences that I love. and
trying new things. You're not talking just work related. You're talking on other levels.
Yeah, no, I mean, working on like, a craft, or just really internally, like going to a workshop on how to be a better person, for example, or, just going to a workshop or a yoga retreat, or just even going to a class, love educating myself on spending the money for a class on something that I'm interested in, or, just like education for my career or something. I love that kind of stuff. It's good.
And would you say that living in LA has shaped you as a person? Because it can be a quite tough place to live, I guess? Or
LA is a piece of cake.
Is it?
Compared to everywhere else? Oh my God. It's a piece of cake.
Wow.
People have their cars. They drive to the grocery store. They put their groceries in their trunk, and they're driving home. They drive home, and they have a garage, and they just load their groceries from the trunk to the car. Like, you don't have to carry bags here.
The question is, how long does it take you to get home from the grocery store in LA traffic?
Oh my God.
4 hours?
I live right above a grocery store. So I could walk down to the corner and get my groceries. But
I love how I asked you if LA is an easy place to live, basically, and you talked about going grocery shopping.
Because I just think about how, like, people in other cities, if you don't have a car, like, I love being in my car, like, it's transportation, it's freedom, it's, I can go, I can go anywhere. I can go on a road trip or whatever. But I don't know. I lived in Milan, and I bypassed New York. And when I came back, I bypassed New York because I moved to Milan, and Milan was such a hard place to live. And being a European, or no, you're not European. You're different. You're not a part of Europe anymore. Okay, cut that part out too.
Britain.
No, you're right.
Yeah. I mean, we're still going to be part of Europe after we leave the European Union.
I don't know where you guys are at with the whole Brexit thing.
Yeah,
I don't know
we're
what to call you.
still going to be on the continent.
Oh, okay, so being European, there's strikes all the time, right? And in Italy, it's different. I found that the cobblestone roads, it was slow to get paid. You had to walk to get, groceries. And
After the groceries. Did you learn Italian?
Yeah, but it's been so long. I mean, and I can get by. I know touristy Italian, but I think that LA is a really easy place to. I think a city either accepts you or rejects you. And
I guess if you're coming here to become an actor, it's probably tougher. Yeah,
I guess I'm thinking more in lifestyle, and you're thinking more of career. It's definitely a hard place to break into, for sure. But I think in terms of lifestyle and like what you get here, you get more space, you get more room. Everything's spread out. But I mean, I live at the beach, and so that has completely changed my life. Just living at the beach. For me, it's like a really great lifestyle, and I think that's what people gravitate towards here in LA, is the lifestyle more than anything. And that's what I mean by, I think that it's easy to live here,
easy to get groceries. I get it
because life revolves around food.
People are just going to move to LA now after they listen to this, and they want to get easy groceries.
Are you kidding? I'm going to have you edit this out. I get final cut. No, just kidding. Approval.
Incorrect, but
I'll try.
Do you have anything in store for your future of your career? Is there anything you'd still like to achieve, or do you have any personal goals?
Yeah, so much. I feel like I said before, like I'm constantly learning. There's so much so much more to learn, and I feel like I'm still growing, and there's different aspects of my career that I enjoy, like, the business side of it, and the longer I do what I do, the more I learn about the business aspect. And so I don't know, maybe I'll start a business. I feel like I have my own business, being an independent contractor, and I'm incorporated, but and I feel like I'm my own agent and all of that. Like I feel like it's definitely a business owner, but I would like to start a business. I have some ideas, and I would like to branch out into doing something more on the business end, and still maintain some creativity, but we'll see what happens, But yeah, I have some goals, and we'll see.
And if there's anything you could go back, if you would change about your career or things that you've learned since, what would you change?
I would have started this social media thing a long time ago. But it didn't actually exist.
MySpace? I remember.
Is that social media?
Yeah, I think that was like the start of like big social media. I think that's when, like, even myself, I was following barbershops on MySpace without realizing that was like the start of what was to come. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would have started marketing myself a lot sooner. I just, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone really thought about putting pictures of their work up on MySpace. No one put haircut pictures. I mean, no one really had cameras then.
Right.
Like, you'd have a digital camera you might take on holiday.
Yeah.
At 1 million megapixels.
Right.
Now it's like 50.
Yeah, I guess I would have stuck with my my photography. I need to get back into it. As I said, I was like head photographer in my yearbook, and I enjoy taking photos, but like, I guess it just took a back seat. Now I feel like, it's really important. You need to start, as you have this whole setup here. You have like 2 cameras, you've got the microphones, you have like...
You usually have 3 cameras, but
really,
the cameraman's not here, so...
Yeah, that's the way it's done. You're doing it right. I mean, I'm learning from you, taking note.
Well, I guess we won't have much time to go any deeper because you have to go and I've got someone else coming. So, yeah, honestly, like, thank you very much for joining me on this.
Oh my God, thank you so
new
much.
Podcast of mine, Travel
My
Cuts
pleasure.
and Consciousness.
Travel Cuts and Consciousness.
And if you want to give the viewers or listeners your social media links and websites, you can do that now.
Oh, great. Yeah, it's my Instagram is at Natalia Bruschi, and that's at NataliaBruschi. My Twitter is at Natty Brew, and my Facebook is the same, at Natalia Bruschi.
And the same websites as well. So.
And NataliaBruschi.com, yeah.
If you want to check out that sick shot of Brad Pitt, you go straight to the website. It's there waiting for you.
Oh my God, I hope I didn't say anything embarrassing.
So honestly, thank you very much, and it's been a pleasure.
No, it's pleasure's all mine. Thanks for having me.